Perfect. Well, welcome everyone to our Q&A session with the guru himself, Glade Ross. Glade, it's all yours.
Okay. Well, thank you for attending, everyone. Anybody that wants to turn on a camera so we can see your mug. For most of you, at least, I think we'd appreciate that. Maybe there's one or two of you that don't want to show your mug because, well, no, I don't want to make that joke. All right. So I know several of you have been here before, and this is just Q&A. So I'm not really introducing anything. I'm just taking questions. Hello, Crystal. How are you? Nice to see your face. Your mic, maybe you're muted here.
Yeah, I think I was muted.
Okay, there you go. Hi. Good to see
Hi.
you. Looks like you're working from home.
I am. Yep. I'm in Arizona
Excellent.
today.
Nice. Very nice. Do you have a question?
Oh, no, sorry. I was just
Okay, just saying hi.
saying hi.
Okay, cool. I'll tell everybody else a little about Crystal when she first brought her company aboard, what, 11 years ago or something like that, maybe?
Yeah, 2009, I think we did the switch over.
She was so on point in question after question after question and requests for this tweak and that tweak and the next tweak, and helped us a lot to do a lot of other needed new things. So everyone extend a thank you to Crystal for that. Hi, Tim. How you doing?
Good, Glade. How are yourself?
Good. Good to see you. You're looking very handsome there.
Thank you.
Must be that Wisconsin, or I always get Wisconsin and Minnesota mixed up.
Well, I went to Wisconsin, but I'm in Minnesota, so
okay, gotcha.
I confuse you. So.
They're those two sort of northern, very cold states, and they kind of occupy the same place in my brain.
Yeah, it's true. So you got a list of questions from people, or how are we doing this time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, I should check here in chat. Thank you for reminding me of that. Don't see any questions yet. So you guys can either just state your questions orally if you wish to, or you can put them in chat, whichever way you want to do it. There's one. We have a question about Shift 8 barcode scan in receiving parts. What is the intent of this process? How does it work? I tried receiving one at a time only. Okay, so the Shift 8 form, let me go into my ServiceDesk and display it for you, is our receive shipment form. Let me find the right control here to display it. All right, Here we go. Okay, so this is our receive shipment form, and the general idea is you receive a shipment, you pick which vendor you got it from, type in the invoice number that you're receiving on, where you're receiving it to. Typically it's OF. And I'm gonna have to remember this myself. So the idea is that you're going to indicate the series of items that you're receiving from your vendor. And I must have to do one more thing here. I created this, and I'm okay, filter by, okay, we're going to use a scanner. And the idea, okay, if you're doing it manually, you type a part number in here and enter it and indicate, okay, we paid this much money for it, and enter and go on to the next item. And basically you list each item that you're receiving in the shipment. You can enter the part number manually, or you can click over here and use the scanner and just zap the barcode, and it will put the information in. I don't have a scanner on my desk or any part number barcodes, so I can't demonstrate the scanner, but basically you go through every line item in your shipment and you check it in, and the system basically finds the item in your waiting for parts list from your F8 and matches them up. And if there are multiple items to match, then you get to pick which item that you're going to be applying it to. Any questions on that? And let me get my full view back here again because it went away. I see more nice faces, but come on. Here we go. Okay, let's go back to our chat box here. Can you share your screen, please? Which I did. We tried. Oh yes. Right. Kevin here is saying we tried scanning the entire invoice. There's no mechanism for that. Your invoice, maybe what you're thinking of is wondering if there would be like a optical character recognition, OCR, that would read your invoice and go from that. It's not. It's basically a line item scan. And most invoices don't have barcodes on them for the part number. So what you're basically doing is you're pulling items out of the box. You're finding the barcode on each part, and you're zapping the part with the scanner. And if the part doesn't have a barcode, then of course, you just have to type in the part number manually. Kevin, does that answer your question sufficiently? Well, I'll go on to the next question here. Can we print labels from that screen? Kenton, can you pitch in here and remind me if you can print labels from the screen? I believe the answer is yes. Click here when ready to.
Yeah, you can. At the end, it automatically asks you if you want to do that.
Okay, so when I've got all my items listed here, I'm going to click on this button. And please confirm these are all the indicated items. Yes. And then I ask you if you want to print labels. The answer is yes. The support guys actually keep up on these kinds of details better than me because they're providing support on them all the time. So let's go to the next question. Looks like we already got an answer there. Okay. Kevin, I hope this sufficiently answers your question on the receive parts shipment interface. Next questions, please. How are you, Robert? Hi, Mike.
Hey, how are you? I got some questions for you.
From Tom Hankins, do you foresee a time when you would integrate Google Maps rather than the current map view? We are hoping to actually have to be able to implement Google Maps or similar as the background interface in the dispatch map. To date, we have not found it to be practical, mainly because the canvas, the Google Map canvas and the Bing canvas and the OpenStreets canvas, none of them allow the variety of different click actions and drag and drop actions that we want to be able to do on the dispatch map to make it as effective as it is. What we may end up doing and what we're actually working toward right now for the more immediate term is to create a instead of the hand-drawn map that you have as background on the dispatch map, to actually have a professional, to have basically a faded Google Maps image as the background, but not the actual interactive canvas that Google or Bing or OpenStreets provides. Until and unless one of those entities makes their actual canvas in a way that we can do all the interactions that need to be done, we pretty much have to have our own canvas, but we can imprint on our own canvas whatever we want to, including an image from one of those services. So that's kind of what we're working toward right now. Can you adjust the format of the parts received label? This is from Peter Patriquin. Peter, you mean the parts label that you put on the parts, I presume? There are several different formats that you can use for those parts labels. Each of them is for the most part a fixed format. There is a little bit of customization that's involved, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the customization is that's involved, but the support team I'm sure can help you directly with that. I think we have 4 different formats that you can use for those parts labels right now. And if there's a particular customization you need that's not available, you can certainly put in a request for that. From Crystal, we collect service charge or validate warranty prior to going to an appointment. Will you be able to add some functionality on the jobs perusal form to easily find jobs that have not either been warranty validated or minimum amount collected? That sounds to me like a great idea. I'm making a note of it. Okay, let's see here. Parts. So basically, that's going to be a checkoff on the job record as to whether this has been done. And there's going to be a filter category in the jobs perusal form so that you can filter on that. Crystal, did I get that right? Okay, great. From Peter Patriquin, we put dollars at the end time on an appointment, which shows the dispatch which shows the dispatch is not paid. That sounds like a good workaround until we create the purpose-made feature, Peter. Good thinking, but I think everyone will probably be happier having a purpose-made feature for that. From Brian Colwell, when truck stock part is used for a warranty job, where does the system pull that invoice number from? Okay, good question. Probably not everyone here does warranty work. For anybody that does not do warranty work, I just want to kind of fill in some understanding here. When you make a claim, a warranty claim, on any warranty job on which you use parts, to get reimbursed for those parts, you generally need to provide a purchase invoice number on which you purchase such parts from a authorized vendor. And so the question is, how does the system know which purchase invoice number to use to basically autofill into the NARDA form to submit with the claim? The answer is in your F8 interface, or excuse me, not F8, F10. I'm going to review existing inventory, and I'm going to view the raw inventory list. This is actually data from my old service company that I was running way back last century, literally. But at any rate, this column right here is the purchase invoice number on each inventory stocking part. And we did no warranty work in my company to speak of, so we didn't even use those in my company. But at any rate, every time you purchase a stocking part and check it in an inventory, you'll be indicating what your purchase invoice number is. And the system keeps track of those purchase invoice numbers with each such part. It's almost like there's an inventory of purchase invoice numbers. So the question is, how does, if an item is used from stock, how does it choose? Let's suppose we've used one of these fuses, and we've got the purchase invoice numbers on each because we were putting in that information. How does the system decide which purchase invoice number to use out of a whole bunch of different items that it could pull a purchase invoice number from? The answer is it uses a algorithm to try to pick the one that's going to do you the most good. Multiples of any particular part number are fungible in that it doesn't matter if the actual part that was used on a given part number was actually one purchased on a particular invoice number. They're interchangeable in terms of which one you can use. So the system doesn't try to keep track of it was this one with this purchase invoice number that was used versus another one with a different purchase invoice number, unless you've invoked a special mechanism to do that, which Samsung requires of some of the servicers, but normally it doesn't. So what it does is, if it's a warranty job, the supposition is that you want to get the most credit you can for having used the part. So if it's a warranty job, the system goes through and finds the instance of the part that you paid the most on. And that's the purchase invoice number that it uses. If it's a COD job, on the other hand, the system figures that you want to get the best markup, the best net you can on the part, and so it goes through and finds an instance where you used the least, or where you spent the least on the part, and that's the purchase invoice number that it chooses to use. Brian, does that answer your question? That element of we'll call it IQ in the system was added, I think, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So it's not something that's always been there, but it's been there for some time now. From Tim Koyanen, I had a question you maybe thought about from a request before. When jobs get scheduled and they stack up in the unassigned position, is there a way to organize those from zone 1 to 9? Interesting. So in the dispatch map, let me go to my dispatch map. And I'll just drag some jobs into unassigned right here. So if you're leaving a lot of jobs unassigned until, say, maybe the day before, you could end up with a big list of unassigned jobs. And Tim's question is, can we organize those by zone? Is that right, Tim? Shake your head, Tim. Okay, gotcha. I will look into that. And I'm typing it into my note sheet.
Someone has to do with more warranty volume. When you've got a lot of like incoming dispatches, you can have that list run down through your blue tech and your yellow tech.
Right. Now,
and it's just an idea that it would help speed things a little bit, knowing if you've got guys in the north or south or east or west.
Certainly. Let me look into what might be practical to do on that. In the meantime, if you're not aware, you can rearrange how those lists are positioned, so that the positioning is not written in stone. It can be done. The positioning can be rearranged however you want it to be rearranged. If you'll open a support connection, if you want want the positioning of those lists to be different, one of our guys can do that for you, and while doing it, he can also show you how it's done. It's not something that's really designed to be user manipulable, but it can be. It's in a particular file that instructs it, and a lot of people like to know how to do it themselves so that they can rearrange at will. And one of our support guys will be happy to show you how it's done.
So it's different than moving your technician positions?
So each list position, here, I just hit L on my keyboard to show the list positions on this dispatch map. In your settings form, you can decide each tech what list position you want them to be in. But in your underlying .map file, it's going to be a portion of your company name .map. That's the file that defines the graphics and also defines the size of your map, and it defines these list positions. And each of these list positions is defined by basically its top left-hand corner on an XY coordinate. And it's pretty easy to go into that file and just set up the positions differently for however you want them, as long as you just see what the simple structure is. Or one of our guys will be happy to do it for you. However you want them to be arranged that may be different than we originally set up, we're happy to do for you.
Cool, thank you.
Sure.
Glade, I've got a question about zones. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things is we're in the middle right now. We're revamping all our zip codes and trying to get that new list all set up and creating the file where all that is listed in the tab delimited file. So you go in and you put in all your zip codes in column 1, then column 2 is your zone. Column 3 is a brief description of what that zone is. I'm wondering if you can go one step further. I don't know if this will shake any trees, but so if you show your availability out there to service power, like us, we may have dispatches coming in from 10 or 11 different companies through service power, and the low payers, we want to give them the lowest priority, where maybe we only want to show them we only have 1 or 2 calls available a day, and maybe some of our boutique brands that pay us premier, we want to show them we've got 20 jobs available for the day, because what's happening is the low paying companies are coming in and they're taking up all the availability, and then by the time a boutique brand comes to us, we don't show any availability.
I totally understand, and it's a very important dynamic, and let me tell you how to deal with it. Service Bench and Service Power do not allow us, in terms of the direct integration, any channel by which to say, I want to expose this much to your client X, but only this much to your client Y. The only channel that we have in terms of that integration is to say, here's our availability, period. There's just no distinction between, who that availability is exposed to. In terms of any particular integration, what you can do, however, is you could set up different Service Bench accounts.
They won't let us. They keep merging them. They say no. We've got.
Well, if they won't let you, they won't let you. But let me explain for the benefit of anybody who can manage to do it, because some people do have multiple accounts.
They do. They do.
Maybe they've taken away that opportunity. In fact, here's something that's odd. Back in the day, we often heard from clients that they wanted to merge accounts. They didn't like having more than one account. And frequently, Service Bench personnel at least would say, sorry, we can't merge them. And we knew it was wrong. And we'd always tell our clients, you got to speak with somebody higher up because they can do it. At any rate, if you can manage to get different accounts and put your low-paying clients on a particular, say, Service Power account, and put your higher-paying clients on a different Service Power account, you could then run 2 different instances of Service Power Dispatch Link and set your holdbacks in one of them to be more extreme in terms of the percent or quantity of dispatches that are or of vacancies that are held back and not shown, and be more liberal in the one that is connected to the account with the higher paying clients. Kenton, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I was actually going to add with Service Power specifically, you can use the default, or it defaults to the office location, default location. And we can use the dispatch office as a way to separate without doing account numbers or different account numbers.
I didn't know that. Thanks for adding that.
Yeah, that came up recently with the Lowe's transition over. So you could set up like a dispatch office called Lowe's, and then we can actually set up a separate link with information for that, and then upload availability from that link that's set to that dispatch office instead. That doesn't address the service bench side of things. That would address Service Power there, though.
You know, Kenton is the one that should be called the guru here.
I spend a lot of time with Service Power right now.
Yeah, I bet you do, buddy.
Besides, his beard is not gray like mine. Okay, you got a little. While we're in the dispatch map, this is actually in today's work diary release, but I just improved the cheat sheet here. It was getting so long that even I sometimes had a hard time finding the cheat that I was looking for when I couldn't remember a command. It's now better organized. The descriptions are many times more brief, which makes it easier. And the display options are off in their own separate segregated section with different items. So I think you'll find that's better. Something I did just today is that's not what I want. I want, I want, can't remember okay, let me use the command. I can't remember the command, and I was just doing it earlier today. Control J. I made it so these, let me go to here. I lightened the color of the pumpkins so that you can make out the text better over the pumpkins. So I think you'll like that better. Actually, you don't see them being lightened here because it's only done in my development environment so far. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that while we're here. Okay, more questions. Question about reply texting. Is it possible for group text? I think this came up the last time, and I haven't managed to figure out a solution for it. But the concept here is, my name's Tina, and I sent a text to a customer, maybe requesting that they reschedule their appointment or something like that. And the customer replies to the text. The way we have the structure set up, that reply is going to come back to me, Tina, and not to anybody else. And basically it comes back to me as an SD mail. And if I happen to be off that day or that week, then nobody's going to be otherwise seeing that text reply to react to the reply. Do I have that right, Kevin? Great. All right. Let me re-enter a note on that and see what we can come up with in a solution for that. That'll take some thought, I think. Some vendors pay freight charges. Can you add a field in the special order parts line for freight amount so the billers are reminded to bill this out? Let me think for a second. This is from Crystal McConnell. Some vendors, I'm thinking about this. Crystal, what my typical conception has been that any freight fee should be included with the cost of the part. I suppose that doesn't work. Shoot. As I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking this might be a big oversight that every now and then some oversight comes up, and I feel amazed that that we haven't been hit with it before. Here's what I'm picturing, and tell me if I got this right. So you got charged freight on some part, and it's a warranty job, and you can't include the cost of you can't include the freight cost and the cost of the part because you're not going to get reimbursed or credited from your vendor for anything but the actual cost of the part. However, you can separately claim the freight on the warranty claim. Is that accurate? Okay, and we haven't had any dedicated mechanism for separately keeping track of that freight. Yeah, that's huge. Wow. I don't think I have no memory of that ever coming up before. Which is amazing because it's huge.
We were always told to instruct that it was part of the cost of the part.
Which you could do if it's retail, but if it's a warranty, you've got exactly the conundrum I explained. Wow. Okay, I'm making a note of this. Crystal, help me understand. I suppose you might have cases where you're getting several parts and a single freight charge.
Yeah, I mean, we personally ship direct to customer, so all of our invoices, one invoice would pertain to one customer.
Okay.
But I know that there are other companies that don't do it that way, and there would be a problem. That's if you had any other solution that would work, I would be fine with that. But I let the guru figure it out.
Okay. By the way, any of you that do not use direct to customer shipping, it's not for everybody. Certainly, I've listened to several people who explain convincing reasons why it's not for them. But a lot of companies are doing it with great happiness for the benefits that it creates. And you can see Crystal shaking her head there. So if you have not considered direct shipping to customers, and I'd suggest that you consider it. I see Tim's evidently also a fan. So also is Mike. Everybody I've got a video of is giving a thumbs up to direct shipping to customers. So if you've not considered it, consider it at least, because a lot of companies are finding that it has very robust benefits. I'm sure there are drawbacks too. Like everything, there's pluses and minuses, but you can see 3 strong converts evidently right in front of you, right there. Okay, that freight thing seems very important to me. From Peter Patriquin, SD Mobile Invoice, are you able to add a separate line for service call and a separate line for labor? Let me look into that. Off the top of my head, I'm not clearly recalling exactly what the structure is right now. Ken is shaking his head.
Yeah. It's actually defaults to the other field in mobile, and in your mobile link, you can set it to use that as a service call instead. And so they will be 2 separate items in line items inside of ServiceDesk Mobile.
Boy, am I glad we got you here, Kenton. Thank you.
Well, that's why I joined in.
Okay. From Tom Hankins. Oh, it looks like Tom is maybe answering Kevin. Okay. To address that, we pull up a second copy of ServiceDesk for that missing employee. Okay. This is about the text replies coming in that Tom is answering, explaining how they address the issue of the employee being off for a day or a week in his company. They bring up a second copy of ServiceDesk and set the user as the person who is absent, and that way any incoming SD mails can be monitored for that user. Thank you for that, Tom. Kevin is asking Crystal, I guess you can all see the chat, but Kevin's asking Crystal, I think he's kind of asking how much are the freight charges shipping individually to customers. And Crystal's answer seems to be, we save the cost of labor, courier, parts clerks. It balances out, to be honest. Much easier for us. From Tim again, attaching authorization numbers or codes for repairs on the top payer line seems to be so picky. Can we get over to the exact number of spacing to transmit a claim and have it populate correctly on the claim? So Tim, I believe what you're describing here is how we have kind of a quasi soft field to the right hand side of the customer name box in the call sheet and job record structure, where the payer's job identifying number goes. Shake your head if I'm right.
Correct.
And
usually, what is it, pound sign, certain spaces, and whether it's a authorization number given from a manufacturer or a repair code or something.
You might be perceiving a pickiness that's not actually there, and you can tell me if I'm right or not. It doesn't actually need to be a particular number of spaces or anything like that. Basically, anything that follows a pound sign is going to be interpreted as a payer's ID number.
Can I pause you?
Sure.
We get it to populate instead of the upper right. If you pull up a NARDA form, instead of going in the upper right, it's going down in the bottom left.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so we got this job right here. And this should be interpreted as the payer's ID number. Not set up as a warranty job, obviously, but it should, oops, didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to overwrite it. I'll just put a number back in there because it's all fake anyway. So
yeah, I went down in the dispatch number there. I don't want it there. I want that up in the upper special authorization up top.
Oh, okay. I don't need that there either. Get rid of that. So if I remember right, and Kent can probably help me on this.
I was always under the impression on the top line it had to have had to be so many spaces over from the right.
No, you do want to have basically any group of 2 or more spaces will be interpreted as the end of the customer's name. So you wouldn't want to have this with just a single space right there separating, because ServiceDesk would then interpret all of this as the customer's name. So you do want to have a grouping of at least 2 spaces between the customer's name and whatever follows. And you can put a title in front of the pound sign, which is often nice to have. But basically, as long as there's at least 2 spaces between that and the name, you're good. Anyway, if I'm remembering correctly, ServiceDesk is configured to interpret anything following a pound sign in this box as basically a special authorization number or contract number, either of the 2. Let me just test this and see. That's not right.
Let's see, normally you would have the customer information and the whatever color you call that, yellow or cream, and you're going to have a manufacturer up top.
It finds it somewhere.
I believe you have to have your dispatch pound moved over to the right more for it to pull up.
No, anything here is always going to be interpreted as the dispatch ID, as their job identifying number. This will never be interpreted as a special authorization number. And there is a way of configuring so that a number is so interpreted, and I'm not recalling what it is. I think Kenton had to break out to assist a client directly. We do get dispatches that have special authorization numbers already included, and I'm pretty sure those go into your more info notes here. And those get formatted in a way that when it's already included in the dispatch, that I know ServiceDesk recognizes them and puts them in the NARDA for you. I can't tell you off the top of my head what that formatting is, but let me, I bet Kenton knows the answer of the formatting that causes it to be so recognized. I will find out what it is and I'll plan to let you know directly, Tim, and anybody else that wants to let me know that, if you let me know or support know that you want to know directly what that formatting is. I just don't know what it is off the top of my head. I'm making a note.
It seems like we get close like 60, 70% of the time. So I just figured we were either missing something or didn't have enough space.
Does anybody else happen to know the answer to that?
I have some input on this, and I just demonstrated it for myself. There's already a dispatch on this system. You can put an authorization number up in that top right-hand corner, and it will put it up in the authorization field. So it's almost like the problem is...
You mean if it says author, if it says author here?
Yeah, as long as there's already a dispatch, but there's already got to be a dispatch. In this case, your invoice doesn't have a dispatch, therefore it loaded it into the dispatch field on the NARDA. But had there been a dispatch already, then it would probably have drawn it from the extra notes. Then that authorization would have populated in the correct place.
I'll get a definitive answer.
So Glade, like where we run into a problem is like Whirlpool has a refrigerator that has a little duct bill for their drain trap. That part is covered. Yeah, but the customer's paying for trip and labor and everything. We have to use a code to get that part credited, but usually that customer is just calling us in on their own. So when you do the pound and the space, it throws it down in the bottom left instead of the upper right. And we went and put that in there. It would then put it in the top right.
I'll get you the answer.
Okay, thanks.
I wish I had it for you right now.
That's fine.
Okay, back to the chat. Where is the box to the right to remove text? I think you're talking about in the finished forms. Tim Lort. You're referring to these boxes? You can make any item non-taxable by clicking here. Yeah, not all the forms have it. I don't think the custom form does, for example. No, custom form does. If you are looking at a generic or custom form, or I think POS form. No, POS form doesn't have it, I guess. At a generic or custom form that does not have those, and if you're Canadian, with separated GST and PST, there should be two columns, one for PST and one for GST. You probably have an old instance of the form file, and you just need to open a support connection and have the support team give you a newer copy. Okay. Yeah, Angel, I thought the same thing as you, but when I did a pound sign and number in the in the second line, Angel's giving us an answer, perhaps. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's try this. Angel's thinking that an alpha number goes here. Let's try it. No, that didn't do it either. Or maybe she was, maybe Angel meant to say here, which is what I was thinking. All right, I lost my chat window again. Let me get it back. Okay, dispatch. Brian Cole is saying the dispatch number needs to be all the way to the right for it to show up in the NARDA. It does not, Brian. As I was saying earlier, anything following the pound sign in this line, ServiceDesk is going to interpret as a dispatch ID. So personally, I think it looks best. It's just more aesthetically pleasing when you got it all the way over, but there's no functional requirement for it. Right. Tim's mentioning that the mobile finish form does not have the line item tax exempt boxes. That's correct. If there's a need for that, I think we could add it. I don't think we've had a request for it presently. How do we update the address database? I think you're probably referring, Peter Patriquin, to your street list, as in you're typing in a street name. Put my name in here. And you get the drop down here, the street list drop down. We will basically just put in a request. We've had a long time goal of wanting to provide everybody with an update every 2 or 3 years. We've never managed to keep up with that goal on our own accord. Instead, we've mostly just done updates on an as requested basis. The Census Bureau, it does update their data that we pull from every year. And it's not a huge burden on us to provide updates. It's a bit of a burden, but we're happy to provide those to you periodically. Just put in a request to support, and they basically forward the request to Carrie, and Carrie's the one that does the work. She bills us, and then we provide the update to you. Good afternoon, David. How you doing? What is the best way to pull invoice number from an inventoried part for billing purposes? ServiceDesk, per earlier discussion, is designed to do that for you automatically. When you have a part usage filled into the NARDA, if you were otherwise looking for purchase invoice numbers outside of that context, as I showed earlier, you can go to here. I'll use my mouse instead of the quick key so you can see what I'm picking. Review existing inventory, view raw inventory list. You'll see all of your purchase invoice numbers lined up in this column that for me is blank because we weren't putting in purchase invoice numbers in my business. One downside, if you just picked a number here and used it independently of ServiceDesk using it, would be if you didn't do something in ServiceDesk to indicate that you'd use that item, ServiceDesk would still think that item with that purchase invoice number was available to autofill for you into an order. So you'd want to be careful about that. From Patrick Thackeray, if the part is under warranty and the customer is responsible for labor, then do we just make an invoice for the warranty part and then keep the same labor on the same invoice, but for our records only? I think different people handle this differently. I wouldn't make two different job records, that's for sure. On the part, I would simply, from the job record, print options, finish form, NARDA, and it's going to autofill the parts on here for you. Let's say that some parts are under warranty and some aren't. You can right-click to delete the items that aren't on warranty that you're not making claims on. You're going to have no labor down here because it's a part-only claim. The system's going to automatically, when you've got parts listed and no labor, it's going to automatically check this as parts only and submit your claim. And do whatever invoice that you're doing to your customer separately in the finished forms, or maybe that invoice was done via SD Mobile and you don't even have to worry about that because it's already taken care of via SD Mobile. Hopefully that answers your question, Patrick. From Crystal, would love the text to be prompted to take certain photos in SD Mobile prior to being able to move on. Picture of a plant standing back at arrival, model, serial picture of failed part. Basically, discipline from the software for technicians that aren't otherwise consistently doing what you want them to do. And just as a confession here, we often are asked to have the software provide discipline. And when it's practical to have the software provide discipline, we're happy to do it. It's kind of actually an important function of software where it can do discipline to do so, I think. We did something in terms of requiring pictures in the past, and I'm not clearly recalling what it was. Kenton, can you chip in on that?
Yeah, so there is, in the SD Mobile link, there is an option to pester the technician to take the pictures, and then he then has to repeatedly acknowledge the fact that he's agreeing to do that. I don't think we have any reporting that goes back to the office, though, that says technician agreed to do this. So that might be something we want to add as maybe a notation that goes into the PVR or something like that, along with his response to that.
Let me bring up SD Mobile link and show where that option's at. Okay. Upload merchant credentials. Kenton, do you require which one that is?
Hold on. Let me pull mine up. It's under the section require text express certification that he, and you can say genuinely verified accuracy in the model serial info and snapped all needed quick pics.
Ah, there it is right here, this section. If you guys can see my mouse. Require text express certification that he, yeah. Mike Basich, were you the one that requested this? I think you were.
And as I'm looking in the job record, it says verified.
Mike, can you put your microphone closer?
Sorry, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. I had you just on speaker. So yeah, I was the one that requested both of those, and I'm trying to pull up a job record right now, but I think it says in the job record, technician verified that he took the pictures.
I think that's correct.
So I'm yanking one up here now. Hold on.
So, Crystal, are you using this? Do you know?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we use that, but I guess what I'm looking for is itemized
Okay,
requirements.
So you use this, but even this level of discipline is insufficient for some of your techs.
Yeah, I mean, we do require a lot of pictures. So for the pictures that we require, they might snap and give us 3 pictures, but I want more.
And you can't just fire those darn sneaking techs because you can't fire them.
Right.
Yeah, we have that problem too. They don't put the right pictures that you want. It just says, yeah, I took pictures, but sometimes it's not the ones that you want. Or they take a picture that's this close and you can't tell what it is, and you need to tell them to step back so you can see what you need. So yeah, it does say verified technician.
How much did that help? At least your techs at least do better when you implemented that, Mike.
Oh yeah. Because being out in the field when you instituted that, I don't know, gosh, that's been 5 years ago or so, or 4 years
Probably,
ago.
yeah.
Maybe more. Time flies when you're having fun, but it even bugged the crap out of me. And you've got to just hit verify, and yes. But because I requested it, I was glad to do it. And in the tech meetings, I do bring that up, and it's like, make sure you take all the pictures. What other additional pictures did you want, Crystal? I mean, did you want another check mark? Did you take a picture of the appliance after you finished, or?
Yeah, I just want to list it out. Here's the picture of the zip line tied to the drain hose if you're working on a washer. Here's the picture of, the proof of purchase if we didn't have that on file, or, I want them to go through the list and make sure that they've gotten those pictures. If we could provide that list on the SD mobile, then they can verify that they've taken all of those.
So you want another list, like if you don't, the parts list, like parts usage list, where you go in and you manually put in all the reasons why you did or did not use a part or whatever, and I know that can be modified.
Here's what I'm envisioning would likely be an ideal structure for the purpose. If the Quick Picks app itself is modified so that based on the machine type, it knows the expected set of pictures, and when the technician snaps a picture, he can check off that this is the picture of the zip tie on the washing machine.
I don't think so, Glade, and I'll tell you why. Because I know our technicians, even if they breathe on a washer and they're working on a dryer next to it, it's their responsibility to put pull ties on the drain line if they're not there. So,
but it could be customizable to each company. So if you don't want that picture, then you would not have it on your list.
And you could make it a requirement when he's working on a dryer to take a picture of the zip tie on the washer.
Yes.
Well, Glade, I think that there's actually been a more universal request of actually having checklists for different appliances and stuff for recording of voltages, temperatures, and all of that stuff. I know the HVAC department does have higher requirements for that kind of stuff. So I don't know if, it's been asked, and I think it came up in the conversation with Stephen in his Ask the Guru session, where somebody had brought up in mobile having those available checklists. Okay. So having some more universal might be a better route to go for at least providing different lists for different machine types and stuff like that.
Speaking of Stephen, who is the coder, for anyone who doesn't know, for the iOS and Android versions of mobile. Kenton, do we know for sure if his products are taking advantage of this setting in MobileLink?
The quick pick enforcement,
Uh-huh.
I don't know that it is. I can do some testing on that and then follow up.
To give you guys some context, Stephen's mission brief as he set out creating those versions was and is to assure that all the functionalities that exist in the Windows version exist in his. But it's an ongoing process, and from time to time, we and he realize that there's some functionality that he hasn't yet added into his products. So what I'm wondering is perhaps he hasn't added even the less detailed reaction certification requirement into his products that these choices invoke. And if he hasn't, that could be a significant reason why you, Crystal, are not seeing better results from your technicians than you want to see. So we'll look to see if Stephen has in fact made those processes work in his product, and if he hasn't, we'll encourage him to do so rapidly.
Hey, Kenton, would that point out to the spell check question that came up earlier in the chat here that didn't get asked?
Yeah.
And one more thing on the list of pictures, there's a lot of times the office has to hunt for 4 or 8 pictures because the tech doesn't label them to figure out which one's model serial. That'd be huge on the office side if we knew exactly which one was the model tag, if it was pre-labeled.
Yeah. What if we modified the Quick Pick app so that the technician can simply pick some labels and not have to type them?
That'd be awesome.
I also think that on the iOS and Android version, Glade, that having, because it actually is able to scan the barcode as part of the, from the actual UIS interface, maybe just have it snap the quick pick at that point too, might be something.
Oh, good idea. Good idea.
I just got to finish up this webinar.
Hey, Pat,
I'm adding that to my list here.
Kenton, can you hear me? It's Mike Bassich. Question for you. You just mentioned something about a barcode scan to put that, would that put the information directly into the model serial, is what you're saying?
Yeah, you actually, from the unit information verification window, you can click the little barcode icon that's next to the where you would normally type the number, and it will actually open up a scanner, and it actually does either barcodes or the Q codes. So.
And this is in SD Mobile, correct?
Android or iOS?
Yeah, Android or iOS.
Okay. So I was going to say I bugged Glade about that probably 8 years ago, and
well, the difference is that smartphones have built-in readers that are very effective, and the Windows environment does not.
right. And then I think you had told me back then, well, you would Bluetooth your phone with the computer that you were using if you were on Windows version, and you could use your phone as the camera.
Well, Mike, you made 55 other questions in between, and I didn't get to that one.
Okay. Sorry, Glade. I got another one I'm going to keep bugging you with later on.
Okay.
But Mike, that feature works really well. It'll actually scan in all the barcodes, and then you just tap on the one that you want to use. So if you're scanning for a serial number, it might see the model number and the serial number, but you're going to tap on the serial number to go into the serial number box.
Cool.
Okay.
Stephen is really an amazingly talented coder. He's something. Okay, more questions. Yes, on a spelling, spell check, Stephen might have incorporated spell checking directly into his products. I'm not sure. But so far as used within Windows, we recommend using a little program called TinySpell. It's free. You can just Google TinySpell, download it, and it will automatically check your spelling for you. From Tom Hakens, I'm wary of hearing techs tell me they took photos, but they didn't populate into SD. When I question if that's true, they show me the photo on their phone that they took, proving they did take the photos.
So I might be able to address that.
Sure.
So if I know from quick picks from your phone, if you have it set for upload on Wi-Fi only, it will not happen. So you've got it, like if they just loaded it, like they got a brand new phone or whatever, and they loaded quick picks, then it may go to a default. You have to go in the settings and you have to make sure that that's unchecked. All that stuff will be on the phone and it never uploads. And it usually takes the office about 3 days to figure it out. They come to me and say, well, I'm not getting any of the check pics, but yet they showed them to me on the phone. I usually make a phone call to them, and lo and behold, in the settings, they don't.
Okay, let me provide some context here.
Okay.
There's an optional checkbox to upload on Wi-Fi only, and the reason that's provided is so that you don't spend a lot of money paying for bandwidth uploading pictures. If you're paying significant, by the bit for bandwidth, the idea is the picture should remain in the queue to be uploaded until there's a Wi-Fi connection, and then they should upload. And it should work. I know that for a while, Stephen, who also is our developer behind QuickPix, was struggling with the queue function not always working, and sometimes pictures being lost in the queue before they got uploaded. It's my hope he's got that thoroughly fixed. Kevin, do you have any fix or any strong basis to know if that's thoroughly fixed or not?
Can I just add a couple of context there?
Certainly.
The new quick picks are actually all built into mobile. So you don't have to run a separate application on iOS or Android. And so if you're experiencing where technicians are not uploading pictures, I would highly recommend that you check their queue on their phone. So if you're on the main job list page at the bottom, you can expand up the menu and you'll see a little icon that says queue on it, and it looks like a plus sign, I believe. When you click on that, it's going to open that up, and you'll see any errors that have occurred. And they'll be listed in red, and you can actually reflag those items by clicking on them to re-upload. Because what we've found is that oftentimes one picture would fail to upload, and then that could trigger a downward cycle of the other ones not being uploaded. And if you hadn't gotten that cleared out of the queue, it would just continue to build up. So have them check that section in their mobile application and see if there are items listed there, and they can try to re-queue it. I think he now pushes notifications to the phone itself. So at the top, it should say like failed to upload QuickPick or something like that, I believe. And so that should help identify that as well.
And I think what Kenton's describing is should only be necessary to the extent there are pictures that precede, that were taken before we better fixed the functionality. Assuming we have.
There has been improvement made, but there's still occasionally where one will fail to upload. And like I said, he now queues all those things for you so you can see what failed and then try to re-upload.
So it's still not perfect, but it's better in terms of its reliability.
Yeah.
Thanks for all that. If I have questions, you can reach out to him.
We will endeavor to make it perfect, because positively it should be perfect. You shouldn't, any picture that's taken and clicked for upload should upload reliably, even if it takes some time because there's not a good connection at the time or whatever. I'm sure Stephen will continue working to make sure it's absolutely perfect. And any instances you have, go ahead and contact support to create a ticket on it, because it's that feedback that helps Stephen know that he's still got continuing work to do. Some problems just are really hard to work out, and it takes effort after effort after effort until you finally get it nailed. Let's see here. We are over time. Let's see if I can finish these questions. Any updated training videos for onboarding new techs in SD Mobile? Let me take that up with Carrie. She's the one that does most of our videos. Actually, Kenton is starting to do some videos, I think. Right, Kenton?
Yeah, I have been, but Carrie just did a webinar regarding the mobile app not that long ago. I did put a link in the messages there. It is through United Servicers as well, and she focuses mostly on the new Android and iOS interface because it is very different for a lot of users. But she covers a pretty good amount of that process there.
Okay, so check that out. And I'm making a note to see what else we can do in the way of new SDM videos. Okay.
Don't be afraid to open up my PDF.
What PDF is that?
Yeah, it just said part suggestion, I believe. Or was that 153?
Gotcha. You know, it doesn't want to directly open from this window.
It had to do with the parts process, receiving a shipment.
Uh-huh.
And the first box that has you put in the vendor and then the invoice number. I was only suggesting that you could enter in the PO number, and then it could also filter all the parts related to that order.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, that is a
But
feature.
you can't click on it from the beginning.
Could you put that detail?
Can I share my screen really quick?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
You have to unshare.
I do, huh? Okay. Go ahead. There you are. Hey, nice background.
Oh, screen sharing is not enabled, so it's not going to work.
Yeah, I believe that that's controlled by
by Sarah?
Maggie or Sarah, depending on who's connected.
I think Sarah might have dropped out on us.
I'll email it to you.
Okay. Okay. Let's finish this up here. Oh, hey, yeah, Mike, I love your shirt. Kevin Leadham asked, Glade, can you explain how to upload inventory update once you formulate the count after scanning our inventory? Currently, we have tried to do it manually. You mentioned there's an option. Okay, the idea is that you've got an electronic document that has your inventory quantities in it. And let me see if I can remember how this is done. We're going to go to our F10 form naturally, and we're going to adjust indicated quantities, and we're going to do it via a barcode-based input file, and the location that we're updating, say it's the office storeroom, and now we pick the file that we're pulling from. This file does need to be in a particular format. Yep. And there is online documentation about the format it needs to be on.
It's actually also in the program itself. When you choose that, the file.
I'm glad you're here, Kenton.
There is a view. Yeah, I just realized it. Carrie covered that also in the barcode session webinar she did just shortly, like the last one she did. She talked about how to use your scanner,
Okay.
save it into the file, export it off the scanner, and then we talked about how to import it in from there.
Okay, so that is Carrie's last session.
I believe it was the last one that Carrie did, yes.
Okay, and you guys all know you can download these webinars, so you can go look at that.
Hey, can you shift F8 right now?
Sure.
So suppose I have the PO number. I just want to put the PO number in. I don't want to put in the vendor. I want to go straight to my, put my PO number in.
I see what you're getting at.
Right from the beginning.
Gotcha. And based on the PO number, it can then figure out who the vendor is.
You already have the vendor in the F8 parts band. You possibly even have the invoice number already in there.
That actually makes pretty good sense. Everybody like that idea? I like that idea. Sometimes your ideas are just too good, David.
Most aren't.
Okay. So Patrick Thackeray asked, PO would generate the correct serial number would also? I'm not following that. Can you elaborate on that, Patrick? Well, we're over time by about 23 minutes. No, 18 minutes. Patrick, if you can let, okay, the serial number would generate everything as well. Serial number.
I'm assuming if he had a UIS on it, if you did something with a serial number.
Are we referring to the receive shipment interface?
I'm thinking that's what he said. So if you put a serial number in there.
Okay, but receiving a shipment, you're basically, you got a shipment of parts from some vendor, and a serial number goes with the machine as opposed to directly with your shipment. I mean, each item is coming in for some machine, but you don't, until you start looking at the item, you don't know which particular machines each part is for, I don't think. So I'm not understanding the logic of that. Any help on that? Oh, sorry about that, Patrick. Yeah, just put in a call to support, and you probably have a great idea I'm not getting. So we'll work that out offline. Okay.
Hey, really quick, Glade, on the same form that you're on where it says quantity, cost, sells for, and hold location.
Yep.
Is there a way to like squeeze a box in there that says something to the effect of you're currently selling this for blah, blah, blah. And we noticed that the new dollar amount, it should honestly be selling for this price based on your parts margin. Would you like to go ahead and update that new retail price?
I'm not getting the logic of that either.
Because you're going to be receiving in parts that cost way more now than they did last year.
But this is not going by your master parts plan.
That's what I'm saying. If it could pull in the current dollar, the selling price, and notice that it should be selling for more, that would be a good time for that guy bringing in the parts to go ahead and up the retail price.
Oh, okay, so you're not talking about what we're going to charge for this actual part, which is already using your margin planner. You're referring to the notion that as you're checking it in, it does a little behind the scenes consultation in your master parts plan to see what pricing you have set up in your master parts plan for inventory.
Right.
And says, hey, you know what? Your master parts plan price on this is probably too low. That's actually a pretty good idea. Okay, that's it, guys. We're way over time.
Glade,
Yes.
okay, real quick, I waited till the end.
Okay.
Okay, and I've asked for this twice or 3 times already. Get something in SD Mobile for the technician to let them know when they're running out of their time frame, like internally in the office, how it flashes on the dispatch map. And that way, because the girls, or I should say the staff in the office doesn't always address every single text when things are flashing because they're busy. And that way it puts the burden on the tech, and they can text the next customer maybe with a click of something, or just to manually go in and notify the customer.
I think that is a good discipline concept. I'm making a note of it. I'm still making a note for David's idea right now.
And I know you had said it was easy enough for you to do it in the Windows version, but it would have to be passed on to the other coders and programs for that.
Pardon me, I'm trying to make sure I get this down while I'm thinking about it. Okay, an SDM monitor for tech running late. You know, we could even augment that besides just telling the tech, hey man, you're threatening to be late for this upcoming job or jobs. It could offer to automatically send a robocall or text message to the customers that he's threatening to be late for, to warn them that he's threatening to be late. I like that idea a lot.
Well, you didn't like it the last 2 times I brought it up.
You know, we're only human here. We can only do so much at one time, but we try.
Thank you, Glade.
You betcha. That's I like that concept. Okay, thanks everybody. You gave us a lot of work to do.
Okay. Thanks, Glade. Thanks, everyone.
Everybody have a great day and a great remainder of your week.